Okay. What is going on? I can't even tell you. All right. I started one feed here because I didn't see this feed going yet. We're having some technical issues getting Shannon on board. So we'll see how this works. 6:09. We should be on the air soon. Woo! So I've got this feed, and I don't even know if that's going out yet. I got this feed, and Sam, who's over here, has all kinds of he's trying to connect with Shannon. So we'll see what happens. Woo! Live radio. Yeah, Jimmer goes for 70. Hey, Rich Flores. All right, we think we're coming.
Get you on. I'm going to keep troubleshooting on the back end here.
This
cool, man.
Is the Chris Duel Show.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on to the other side. Break on.
Now, Chris Duel.
It is Taco Tuesday. Woo! We got that going for us. The coronavirus wreaking havoc on the Texas Longhorns head coach, basketball-wise, and the San Antonio Spurs. And we quest to find out who is the greatest GOAT of all time. We kind of stumbled into that one yesterday. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Shannon is with us, sort of having a couple of technical issues. Shannon will be on board any moment now. Sam Freese is our soundscape stylist. We love the Biggest Puma, which, by the way, is his Twitter handle, @BiggestPuma. He is on loan from the Mike Taylor Show on Ticket 760 afternoons in San Antonio and around the world. My goodness gracious, so much to talk about. And, of course, you're going to hear a lot about Kobe Bryant this morning. This is the 1-year anniversary of the tragic, horrible death of Kobe Bryant and all of those souls, a few of them kids, on board that helicopter that went down near the 405 freeway in Calabasas, California. And I guess it's the 101. I guess it's north of the 405, having been a Los Angelino guy and having been out to Calabasas, California a number of times. Calabasas, not far from Thousand Oaks, California, where the Dallas Cowboys used to train at Cal Lutheran College back in the Tom Landry era. You know, that's my point of reference, having lived out in Southern California and gone to USC and all that fun stuff. So we are, if you're on Facebook Live, there may be a little confusion, and we'll clean it up here in a little bit. We've got two feeds going because we had some technical issues connecting with Shannon that are being fixed right now. So she's got a video feed that pushes out to AM 1300 The Zone and for Ticket 760. And because I was unsure and still kind of am unsure if that one's live, I just put up another live one on Ticket 760. So if you see two video feeds, once Shannon's on board, we'll tell you which one is the one we want to look at. Lots to talk about today, as I alluded to. Shaka Smart. You know, Texas Longhorns, they don't get to play any basketball for a number of days, like 2 weeks. They finally are scheduled against Oklahoma tonight. And we find out yesterday afternoon that Shaka has the Rona. So Shaka Smart self-quarantining. By all accounts, he won't be on board tonight for the Texas Longhorns. We will talk about that. On that same day, many of us, like me, A, I'm a Longhorns fan, and B, I'm a Spurs fan. And so I work Spurs radio. So I'm in the car yesterday, heading to the broadcast as the Spurs were in New Orleans, ready to take on the New Orleans Hornets. And I am halfway to the radio station at about 6:40 p.m. And I get a phone call from Michael Bartlett, who is the main engineer of Spurs Radio on the Spurs Radio Network. And he says, turn around, go home. There ain't no game happening tonight. Apparently both the New Orleans Pelicans and the San Antonio Spurs had and have, I guess, still today, the next morning, contact tracing issues. The more that I'm hearing about this, it's not necessarily any players specifically who have tested positive, but apparently somebody on the traveling party who had contact with someone who has been tested positive for the coronavirus. So it's the kind of a thing where, maybe early into this pandemic, the NBA might let it go, but by all accounts last night, as I was tracking the reporting, the NBA just trying to be very, very careful about this. So Spurs' next game is scheduled for tomorrow night. I do believe against the Boston Celtics. So we'll see if that comes up. Is that Boston? Yeah, Celtics tomorrow night versus the Spurs. We will see if that one happens. So now I do see Shannon on the video screen. We have Shannon, and I see Sam talking, so I may or may not have Shannon on the radio.
Do you have me?
This is just delightful live radio.
I can hear you, Sam.
Oh, okay.
What's happening? All right.
Are you hearing programming at all?
Not yet.
Are you hearing Duel?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got everything. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So live radio is all sorts of fun. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk everything that is busting and breaking in the world of sports. Your big headlines, of course. Super Bowl. We have one more day with an additional 24 hours to digest. And a lot of people now saying the GOAT versus the kid. And the kid meaning Patrick Mahomes and kind of a playoff GOAT, kind of the Billy GOAT, Billy kid. So that's getting a lot of play. But something we stumbled into yesterday and people were reacting to on air was the question as to who is the greatest GOAT ever? Has Tom Brady surpassed Michael Jordan as the greatest GOAT ever? And if you're going to talk about the greatest of all time, doesn't Muhammad Ali, who was known as the greatest before there was a Tom Brady, before there was a Michael Jordan, doesn't Muhammad Ali have to be in that conversation? I think so. And also Tiger Woods. I mean, I know Tiger is not currently on top of the world, but you look at his body of work, you look at what he's been able to accomplish, and oh, by the way, he's still going at it. Tiger Woods could still win a few majors before it's all said and done. So he's in the equation as well. So our poll question for today, and we got this up at Ticket760 on Twitter. We'll push it out as well if not already at AM 1300 The Zone is. We give you
Sorry,
four
Shane,
GOATs.
we're having all kinds of troubleshooting issues this morning. The log on my end was also messed up. I'm going to play the keyword, and then I'm going to let Chris know that you're in during that, okay?
Oh, okay.
Muhammad Ali,
That
Tom
way we
Brady,
can kind of do a reset and get a re-entry with you joining.
All right. And
And if you have another GOAT, you can just let us know. You got a number of ways of letting us know. You can pick up the phone and let us know. If you got a better GOAT than Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, or Tiger Woods, we'll listen to you. We might dispute you, but we'll listen to you. Phone number, if you want to jump in here at any time between now and 9 o'clock, is 800-707-9760. 800-707-9760. As I mentioned, we are streaming live video as we always do on AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760's Facebook pages. There are 1 or 2 streams of video going on right now. John Williams says, who is the nanny goat? That's a great question. Who's the nanny goat? We might get into that. And of course, Frank Valdez on Facebook Live mentioning, and we will get into this, it is Mamba Day, as 1 year ago today, Kobe Bryant left us. Wes Perkins on Facebook Live says it is Michael Jordan, hands down. Really? Hands down, Wes. And again, and I know we're all very, very adamant about who our choice of the GOAT is, but years in the league, Tom Brady, years in the league, Michael Jordan. All right, Shannon telling me StreamYard is live. So all right, what I'll do during the break is I'll kill one of these videos. I'll kill the video that's running off of my iPhone. Let me see. I think Sam Freese may or may not be on board. I know we got a contest coming up in a moment, the Grand in Your Hand cash contest, but if Sam's able to talk on the microphone, soundscape stylist Sam Freese. Sam's, what's the latest with all of our, and because you've been banging your head against the wall for the last 25 minutes. How's our technical issues going?
Well, this is the fun side of radio when everything decides to go wrong on the same day. But I can report, I think we have a keyword coming up now.
Yes.
I think we have a connection to Shannon. I think we are rolling full steam ahead.
So we think we have Shannon right now. Shannon, are you there?
I think so.
Woo! Yeah.
You got me?
The gang's all here.
What about the echo?
We'll find that out later.
Okay.
We'll find
Just
that
with
out.
the comments.
In
coming
my
in.
ear, no echo, but and then I need to kill one of the video feeds, and I'll do that here at the break. So yeah, if you're on Facebook Live, and again, people might be on another one that doesn't have an echo, which is the one on my iPhone right now. I'll kill that here in a sec, and we'll find out. We did have crack engineers on crack, or at least one in the San Antonio studio, trying to solve our Facebook Live video echo problem. So we'll see if that happens. But more coming up. We'll get Shannon's thoughts on all things sports, all things GOATs, all things Shaka, all things Mamba, and a whole lot more. But right now, we do this at 6:20-ish and 7:20-ish, and throughout the day 12 times on both radio stations, AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760. It is the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. Somebody's going to win it. It may as well be you. It goes a little bit something like this.
Let us give you money. Your chance to win $1,000 is right now. Text the nationwide keyword EASY to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Once again, that's EASY to 200-200. Good luck.
All right. Good luck. We'll do that again at 7:20. Shannon Salty Sweeney having a fun time this morning with Mr. Sam Freese. Shannon, are you in a second studio now? Did I read that correctly and everything that's going on this morning?
Yeah, I'm hopefully in my final phase of studio testing. Still plenty of things to work out, but I think this is it.
Now, as you know, Shannon, and you were here for it, Gonzo is a great engineer. I affectionately call him one of our crack engineers on crack. I don't know if he's on crack, but people can make their choices. I'm not here to judge, but I do know he's a talented engineer. He was in here yesterday working on our video feed. Did you have Arnold or any of your Austin crack engineers on crack work on it on your end?
Yes, but Arnold is he comes in later in the day. He's almost like a night guy.
Slacker.
So I get messages that right before bed. They're like, "Oh, we've set you up," and then I have all these questions, and I'm like, "Okay, I feel good about it." And then you get here, and there's something off, but I can't tell what it is.
Yeah.
So we still have some work to do. It's just hard when we're not. I like to touch things and know how to use them.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks, Arnold. I can't get on the air. I can't hear Sam. They can't hear me. Good work, Arnold. I know Arnold. I've met Arnold. He's great.
Yeah, I will come up. And he answered my call, so that was good.
Not just playing Arnold. I'm just having fun. Having fun while fireworks fly. So, Shannon, you were the one. I'm just minding my own business yesterday, and you're the one who texted me with the Shaka Smart information and the Longhorns coach now has coronavirus issues. My God, how crazy ironic is that? They go 2 weeks because of other teams unable to play them who have corona issues. Finally, they got a game coming up against the Oklahoma Sooners tonight, and now Shaka's got issues.
Yeah, he had all that time to get corona, and now you wonder, is anyone else on the staff or even the team gonna come down with it, right? Games, as you know, like last night, they're not set in stone. They're not going to happen until they hit the hardwood and the ball is thrown up into the air for tip. So it could come down today that some players have it, even some coaching staffs have it. And Oklahoma came out in the ranks yesterday, ranked number 24. And as I don't know if anyone watched last night, but the crazy West Virginia Texas Tech game, West Virginia ultimately beat them with a 6-second left on the clock shot to beat the Raiders. So anything can happen in the Big 12 and against two ranked teams. It's going to be a great one tonight. I just hope everyone is able to hit the floor. I know Shaka is going to be missing out on this one, though.
Yeah, Miles McBride with that last second shot.
That was the same guy who hit it against Texas, right?
Is that right? Wow.
Or
yeah, Sam is confirming that. Sam Freeze, our resident basketball freak. So yeah, Miles McBride. Crazy night in basketball last night. LeBron James in Cleveland goes for 46 as the Lakers beat Cleveland. Lakers are 10-0 on the road. I know the road ain't the road like the road was in the NBA because of the coronavirus, but nonetheless. And I've got to look at the NBA standings. I don't think anybody else is unbeaten or 10-0 on the road. Your defending champion Lakers are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah. Well, when you're LeBron and you're playing in Cleveland, is that really a road game for you?
That's a good point. Yeah, he said Mama's cooking helped him out. So that's a big deal. All right. We will, during the break here, I will eject from one of the video feeds, the one that doesn't feature Shannon and Sam right now. So we're going to fix up the video. We are streaming live video. It's a fun way to participate if you're new to the show, because you're not only interacting with Shannon, with Sam, with me, but a lot of people, including Steve Rocco. I see the original Rock. Cody Wells, Taro Kotani joining us from Tokyo, Japan this morning. It ain't morning in Japan, but it's morning across the great state of Texas. We'll talk Shaka, Longhorns, Spurs, Super Bowl, Kobe Bryant. So much to get into this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney, Sam Freeze, your soundscape stylist. I'm Chris. Till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Okay. Now. I see why that's doing that, because of that. Okay. Now. All right, everybody on this feed. And Luis says, you said there's no echo on this one. It's because it's my iPhone. So fingers crossed now. So I'm going to jump out of this feed and go to the other feed. And let me ask Shannon, is this one pushed out to Ticket 760 yet? And if not, I will push it out to Ticket 760. So Ray Rivera, everybody on this other feed, Jose Martinez, Lucinda Sullivan, good morning, Steve Duraco, Cody Webb, Chris McGee, Ray Rivera, Luisa Alanis, Roberto Carlos Guyton, John Williams, Taro, Lalo Castro, Sam Tobias, Wes Perkins, who is adamant about Michael Jordan, Jeff McClanahan, Frank Valdez, Rich Flores, Anthony Del Toro, Robert Pacheco, Ralph P. Betts. A lot of you jumped in here early this morning. David Valles, Hector Gomez, Clint Proctor, Hector Campos, Ralph Balderas, Augie Mora. Gee, did you people sleep? Gary Ice. What a great name that is, Gary Ice. Did somebody say ice? So, all right, shutting this one down where you just see me and I'm pointing at you. So if you want to hang out with us on the other video, you'll see Shannon, you'll see Sam, and hopefully there won't be echo. We had engineers in Austin and San Antonio working on it yesterday. All right, see y'all on the other feed, which is up and running right now. Late. the heck is going on there? All right. Okay. Don't need my tripod anymore. My tripod for the iPhone. Hand sanitizer, because I believe in science, medicine, and math. Call me kooky. How dare you believe in science? I know. I was raised that way. I know it ain't cool anymore. The world is flat. We never went to the moon. Yeah, right. Woo! Okay. Need to be pushed to Facebook. Okay, let me find that then. Let's see. So I am going to go find, I think, that. Or am I? Well, this way, we're not going to get comments then on Facebook, sadly. Oh, okay, there it is there. Nope, that's the other one. That ain't good. If I click on that, okay, now are those 39 more comments? So weird. All right, now I'm seeing. Nope, that's the wrong feed. Wow. All right, now I'm losing my mind. Yeah, now I can't even find the feed. That's great. Okay, now I post that, and it's nowhere to be found. This is just great. All right. Fun. No, that keeps fooling me. I keep looking. So if I click on that. Well, that is very user unfriendly. Oh, well. Okay.
The child of God, he was walking along the road, and I asked him, tell me, where are you going?
We are stardust, we are golden, we are billion-year-old carbon, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Joni Mitchell wrote the original song, Woodstock, but it was Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young who added billion-year-old carbon. And you are billion-year-old carbon. Welcome in, it's the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Good thing I don't have a lot of hair. So I've been pulling it out during that break.
One of those days.
Yeah, worse for you. I mean, you and Sam have been bouncing off the walls for 45 minutes. I just, during the break there, I was trying to figure out video, but all right, whatever. If you're looking for the video, and it was confusing me during the break because I started one on my iPhone in addition to the one which is like our multiple camera stream, which is the one you want. So I was going during the break. I'm going to like Ticket 760. Oh, there's the video, and I click on it. No, that's the one that I just anyway. So easiest way right now is to go to AM 1300 The Zone's Facebook page, and even you San Antonio people who normally go to Ticket 760's Facebook page. This one right now, just go to AM 1300 The Zone's Facebook page. The stream is there, it's running, and I'll at the top of the hour push it out.
And no echo.
Is there no echo?
Early reports say no echo.
So we actually sound like a legitimate video broadcast.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
After 2 weeks and a day at least. So all right, that's cool. That's cool. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. Sam Freese is your Soundscape Stylist. Let's say good morning to Sam Freese, who, all I do is talk into the stick. Yeah, I don't know. There's one button I know to push. That's my microphone. Shannon and Sam are like high tech, running like this Starship Enterprise-esque soundboard, and Sam has to bring together not one but two studios, one in Austin, one in San Antonio, and Shannon moving into a completely new studio this morning. Sam, how you doing, man?
A lot better at 6:39 than I was at 6:09. No, it's good to actually be able, for all of us for everyone to be able to hear all of us, but also for all of us to be able to hear each other, which is fairly important to this whole operation.
Yes. So it's a little, what we do, pulling the curtain back slightly, is a little ambitious in that, Shannon is in Austin from the palatial, beautiful studios of AM 1300 The Zone. I and Sam are in San Antonio from the nouveau, high-tech, new wave studios of iHeart Radio San Antonio and Ticket 760. And so we merge Austin, San Antonio, all of Texas, and the world. Thank you, Taro Kotani, joining us from Tokyo this morning. So, and all we do is say, Sam, make sure it all comes together. And it usually does. And we had some issues this morning. So it's all good. So hopefully Arnold's not mad at me.
No.
Okay.
He might be mad at me later when I send him a really long email.
Yeah, Arnold's fairly low-key, balanced, and zen-like.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's just on different hours of operation.
Yeah, this is true. So hey, a couple of interesting notes, one of which most people already knew, but I didn't know this until this morning. Last night, in a game at Orlando, Charlotte Hornets at Orlando Magic, NBA history was made on the court. Shannon, do you know what the NBA history was that was made on the court yesterday in Orlando, or last night in Orlando?
I would think it had to be something silly when you're talking about the Hornets and the Magic, but I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Not that silly. Last night, for the first time in NBA history, not one, but two female officials were on the floor working the game at the same time. Normally,
okay, that's good news. That's good. Yay!
You'll see one sister out there. Oh, how cool! It's a woman on the floor officiating. So last night there were two on the floor at the same time. I don't have their names in front of me, but I'll work on that. Add that to what we have learned just a few days ago. The first woman ever will officiate a Super Bowl. So you will have a woman as part of that Super Bowl crew. So women are taking over, Shannon. I'm just saying.
It's about time.
And one of these days in the NBA, your head coach on the floor will be Becky Hammond, and there won't be two, but three women on the court officiating someday for the end. So don't be messing around, dudes. Clean up your act a little bit.
Well, and one day there will also be fans in attendance.
Oh, imagine that.
One day I heard Miami, they're going to start letting fans come in, and they've got coronavirus sniffing dogs that you have to get past.
Wow. First we had drug sniffing dogs. That is the first time I have heard, Shannon, of coronavirus sniffing dogs.
Yeah, like you're going to have to go through the metal detector as per usual, and then you have to get sniffed out by a dog.
Wow.
And what if they're wrong? What if you get sent home and then you go get tested?
Positives. Yeah, and ruin your whole, you want to go out on a date.
Paid all that money for that limited seating.
Ooh, that's a great question. If you get sniffed out by a dog and you shelled out all that money to go see a Miami Heat game, I'm sure that ain't cheap. And then what if it's a false positive and they don't let you in? Does the team reimburse you for that ticket?
That better have an ironclad refund policy.
Wow. Something I want to get into, and I didn't even tell Sam yet because you guys have been so busy getting on the air. I'm amazed at And I know Bob Ballou up in Austin, formerly of San Antonio.
Bobby B.
He's a TV guy up in Austin. Was talking about Coach. Did you see the Coach K thing? People, Coach K, he's such a jerk, and he needs to apologize for that student journalist. Did you? And we'll play the audio maybe in the next segment. Did you see that? Did you?
I saw it yesterday. Apparently, it happened over the weekend.
Yeah, it's a few days old. But I'm late to the party.
I guess the NFL stuff kind of overtook that story, but it's become kind of a big thing. I don't know. I mean, we're in the media. We've seen people get shot down by coaches all the time that are just in a mood, or that's just kind of the way they are. You know, you have Bill Belichick who just won't answer questions he finds stupid, and then you have Coach K who, right? I mean, he's notorious for either telling you absolutely nothing or telling you exactly what he feels, no matter the subject.
And he will first give you the death look.
Yes.
Before, during, and after.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that. Would be more terrifying to me than any response I could ever get.
Oh, and sometimes with Bob, you just get the death look, and then he'll move on to the next reporter.
I feel like a lot of the Coach K backlash is because it was a student journalist, and not, you know, and that way he was trying to teach him a lesson. You know, he said, if you just came out of your economics class, your hardest class, and then someone said, well, where do you go from here? What's your next? You know, you just finished a really hard test. What do you think about next? And that's the last thing you want to think about. He's like, that's what that question was.
And he wasn't mean to me. And again, we'll play it here, you know, in the 7 o'clock. It was like, hey, jerk. Or, oh, come on, you got to be kidding me. It was like, hey, you know, what's your major? What's your toughest class?
Right. He was trying to get to know him and then, you know, let him get into his head. And that's just how he answered the question.
And so social media was in a tizzy, apparently. And Coach K apologized to this kid.
I know. And Coach K, I mean, look at Duke. They're having a rough year.
Yeah.
This is, of course, you know. And I think also most coaches, you know, they have the 24-hour rule of like, we'll let whatever win or loss sink in. And then 24 hours later, we need to move on to the next one. That kid, he thought it was a 24-minute rule.
Yeah.
What was next?
And the kid now, I saw the kids on Twitter, and kids got all kinds of Twitter followers.
Oh, yeah. Best thing that ever happened to him, right?
Exactly.
He's totally fine. He's probably got offers from the Letter Network and all the others.
He'll get a gig now. So Longhorns tonight against Oklahoma without Shaka Smart. Kind of an interesting dynamic. I mean, obviously, he's your head coach. He's the dude you want. So it's going to be kind of interesting to track the Longhorns' performance tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure who exactly is going to be stepping up for him or in what capacity Shaka will be able to coach, if at all, if they can do some sort of remote thing like we're doing here. But I think they'll be okay. I'm a little more worried in that the team itself hasn't played in 10 days.
Yes.
That's what gets me worried.
Let's see, Longhorns associate head coach KT Turner, who spent 7 seasons at SMU. He will be the interim coach. So,
all right.
Former 7-year SMU dude, KT Turner. God, just and again, you now have to wonder about the whole team.
Right.
I mean, obviously he was conducting practice, so the whole team was hanging out with Shaka Smart. So that's going to be very, very interesting tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we get to play the game no matter what. We've already had so many games postponed. And basketball, I know right now is suffering, and they're just trying to get to the end of the season just so they can get to the tournament. The report came out yesterday that the NCAA lost $800 million due to the cancellation of March Madness last year. It took about a 50% hit from their usual income. So they are no way going to let it get canceled again this year, but they've really got to find a way to get around this coronavirus and figure out how rescheduling is going to work should it come down to that in the tournament.
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier, Shannon, big one, exciting game last night in the Big 12. Number 11, West Virginia, over number 10, Texas Tech. We just found out that Texas Tech moved into the top 10, which is so cool for them. You know, now you've got Baylor, Texas, Houston, and Texas Tech in the top 10. 88-87 on that last second shot by Miles McBride. He winds up Miles McBride of West Virginia, 24.7 rebounds, 6 assists. Mac McClung, who continues to be a phenom for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, 30 points last night for Mac McClung. That was on the road at West Virginia. And again, tough place to win, and all the more reason, Texas went in there and got that win at West Virginia. So good on them. And, hopefully, good on Texas tonight as they take on the Oklahoma Sooners. As you mentioned, Shannon, Oklahoma now number 24. So once again, Texas is taking on a ranked team in the Big 12. Oklahoma comes in 9-4 overall, 5-3 in the Big 12. Texas, without Shaka Smart tonight, 11-2 overall at number 5 in the country. They're 5-1 in the Big 12. That'll be a tip just after 6 o'clock tonight at the Frank Irwin Center. That also will be on ESPN too. So kind of cool little national audience tuning in for that one tonight.
Yeah, the Big 12 not to be messed with in basketball. I know they get a lot of grief in football because they have high offenses but no defenses, but they play both ends of the court here in the Big 12.
Whoever comes out of that Big 12 tournament, and presumably, and we'll see when Texas takes on Baylor coming up here in I think less than 2 weeks. It's early February when those two go at it. Baylor at number 2, Texas at number 5. But man, whoever comes out of that Big 12 tournament, assuming it's a very high-ranking team like one of those two, that could provide some delightful seeding in the tournament. One of those teams, Texas still has a shot. If they can beat Baylor in that upcoming game, and then if they can win the Big 12 tournament, one of the 4 number 1 overall seeds is not out of the question right now for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I think number 1 seed from the Big 12 is very likely at this point. Number 1 seed for Texas, that is almost unimaginable considering the last couple of years we've been scraping to get into the tournament when we've actually made it in, and not even in talks of being a bubble team, but a first choice of the 64. So number 1, shoot for the stars. Texas fans love to do it. They love to parade their team and always ask for overachieving rather than underachieving. So yeah, Texas number 1. Why not?
Okay, let's do it. Let's shock the world. Wouldn't it be great if this was the big breakthrough year for the Texas Longhorns? I did mention the poll question earlier, Shannon.
Yes, sir.
We kind of stumbled into it, but somebody brought it up, and it's a great point. Everybody's talking about Brady, headed to his 10th Super Bowl, trying to win 7 out of 10. Where does that rank him? Everybody calling him the GOAT. Is he the GOAT of all GOATs? And do you have the poll question in front of you right now?
Yeah, so of the GOAT of all GOATs in our voting right now, we've got Muhammad Ali with 30%, Tom Brady leading the way with 36%, Michael Jordan 27%, and Tiger Woods 6%. It surprises me that people are even voting for Tiger, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, he has 15. He has 15 championships, but he gets 4 tries a year at them.
That's a good point.
And unlike football, he gets to go to a championship, so he automatically gets a chance to win them. Unlike football, you have to scrape your way all season to get there.
Right, he gets a chance to win them in a field of 60 other.
But he also did it at such a short time in his career. He's been playing for 25 years now, and he's won 15 championships. If Tom Brady were Tom Brady, we talked about it yesterday, he's 50% likely to get to a Super Bowl of his time playing football.
Yeah.
And then he's won over 50% of those games. He would have probably 40 PGA championships if he were Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Well, and you think of those losses. 2 of those to the Giants,
right?
That were so tight.
Unbelievable.
And then 1 to the Eagles with the Nick Foles gadget play.
Biggest trap game of all time.
Yeah, so it's not like anybody kicked Brady's butt in the Super Bowl. All of those were kind of unlikely losses. So anyway, you can vote. Who is the greatest GOAT among all GOATs? And we have narrowed it down to Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods. And we will continue to track that voting throughout the morning. If you want to join us, you can join us on the phone line. We love talking with you, anything we're talking about. And we will certainly on the 1-year anniversary of the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant and everybody on board that helicopter a year ago this morning. We'll get into some Kobe Bryant talk. Sam Priest, we're going to access him more coming up in the show as well. He is a great sports and basketball mind. Phone number 800-707-9760. Streaming live video on AM 1300, The Zone's Facebook page. It's also on the Twitter pages. It's on Periscope. It's all over the place. I might have Shannon walk us through where you can find the video stream. It's all over the place. We'll figure that coming up as well. And lots more coming. Sports update coming up here at the top of the hour. Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs at 8:35. G. Shannon, Salty Sweeney. He's Sam Priest. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show. All right. Now, let's see. On Twitter, on AM 1300 Zone. There it is. Sure. Let me get out of your way.
No, you're good. Everything. Nothing wrong that way. All you ever did. Why is that? I can't play audio in there.
Oh, so you can't. Why can't you like the Coach K?
Exactly. I can only play audio that's already in. Oh no, but I don't have it.
I see it on Twitter.
I can't play it. Yeah. It's so frustrating. Right now, right?
It probably can.
Okay. Gonzo's an amazing help me get us where we need to be, but something ain't right.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I can't do it now.
Well, the echo is back, so they tell me. All right, since the graphic is up, I'm going to go grab coffee. I'll be right back. Well, that sucks about the echo. We'll bring up Gretzky, Cody Webb. Part of the problem, Cody, was Twitter only gives us 4 options. I can't have a 5th one on the poll, but we will address Gretzky. And we will credit you, Cody Webb. All right, I got people writing me who cannot find the feed, looking for it on Ticket 760. Most recently, Rich Flores right now saying he's looking for it and can't find it. I thought I pinned it to the top of the page. Apparently not. And we're hearing there's echo involved, which is just delightful. After they allegedly fixed it. So weird. All right, let's try this.
Hey, Chris, say something for me. I'm going to see if I'm coming through on this wrong fader.
Okay, now that's me with the mic on. Huh. Okay. All right, we'll do our best. Thanks for all your work. I'm sorry you have to go through all this. Yeah, that might have been rough. Yeah, Sam, you are correct. The feed is currently coming from AM 1300 The Zone.
I have no idea what's going on.
We'll roll with it. 2 more hours, man. Less than 2 more hours. There you go, Rich. Sorry, Rich, that it was so hard for you to... Oh, man, the Jimmer. Why don't we just add Jimmer to that list of goats? Teach me how to Jimmer. Louisa, because the engineers don't wake up at 6. They come in at 9 typically. And we are not the highest on their priority list, sadly.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
You know the day, night divine. Try to run, try to hide. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Yeah.
Now, Chris Duel.
It is a Taco Tuesday. Wherever you are, whatever you do today, consider doing your civic duty, your duty as a Texan, your duty as an American, your duty as a citizen of the planet Earth to eat a taco or 3. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show. Chris Duel, along with Shannon Salty Sweeney and Sam Priest, your soundscape stylist. Lots of ways to get in touch with us. Some people doing their best to get with us on Facebook Live. And we are streaming live video a number of places, including Ticket 760's Facebook page, I think, but it's originating this morning. I shared it on Ticket 760, but it's originating this morning from AM 1300 The Zone's Facebook page if you're interested in the video stream. But Shannon, it's also out on the Twitter pages and Periscope and God knows where else.
Yeah, so Periscope right now, eventually Periscope will just be one with Twitter. But right now you can find it over at Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone Twitter pages. Those are both pinned to the top of those pages, so those are easy to get to. And you can comment on them just like you can on Facebook. So if Twitter's your preferred platform, go ahead and use that. And then YouTube, which is great if you want to watch us just on your big screen TV. Go ahead and pull us up there. Again, you can comment as well. And we see all of them.
It's a little bit frightening us on your big screen TV. So some people have shown me like screenshots of watching this show on their big screen TV, and it's a little frightening.
Is it HD? We're coming in 4K, crystal clear.
Yeah. I don't think you don't want to see me in HD. There's a reason why I'm on the radio and not on TV. So
And that YouTube feed apparently is more in line with a live radio feed, so not as big of a delay. So if you're still getting echo for whatever reason, I would suggest going to YouTube and watching while listening to your radio.
And for some of you who are getting echo on the video stream, we had a crack engineer in San Antonio and a separate one in Austin yesterday, working hard on it, saying, all right, you're good to go. Woo! I guess I'll get back to work. Speaking of Taco Tuesday, I've often thought, Shannon, tacos could be the key to world peace. So, I mean, you've got wars around the world. You got people angry at one another, people wanting to kill each other. But I notice that almost never happens when people are eating tacos. So I've always thought if we could find a way to seed the clouds with tacos so that tacos would rain upon the earth, hopefully wrapped in foil like a good breakfast taco with parachutes. And if we could find a way to develop a technology to parachute tacos down wherever there might, not only wherever there might be conflict, but to preemptively stop conflict. I just don't like when people charged the Capitol on January 6th. If they had tacos in their hands, I think they would have just stopped and that's a good taco.
Yeah, it's hard to do anything when you're eating.
Yeah.
Like you always know a meal is really good when the conversation just goes silent.
Yeah.
Everyone's shoveling food into their face. And I'm sure Torchies would love to assist in that, right? They are about to take over San Antonio, so they're taking over the world.
Torchies is about to take over San Antonio. Wow! But I just
best queso in the world.
Best queso in the world.
Best queso in the world at Torchies.
All right, I will
book it.
I will sample that best queso in the world. Best, and we talked about this. Best fresca salsa in the world is at Chewy's. I swear to God, they put crack in it. I can't stop eating
I
it.
think they put crack in a lot of their food.
Yes.
That jalapeno ranch.
Oh, yes. Dip that with some of their chips.
The only thing that would make Chewy's better is having TVs everywhere and not just the bar.
Good point.
Because that's always my thing when I go to a restaurant. Well, where's the TV going to be and can I sit in front of it? Because there are games to be watched all the time.
Good point. Good point. All right, someone has, let me see if I can scroll up, and I think it was Cody Webb. So our poll question this morning, Shannon, because somebody brought it up yesterday, who is the greatest GOAT among all the GOATs? We were talking, obviously, after going back to the Super Bowl again, Tom Brady, but somebody said, and somebody affirmed he's better than Jordan. Tom Brady's better than Jordan. Okay. Whereas Wes Perkins today on Facebook Live says, no, it's Michael Jordan hands down. We've added Muhammad Ali to that debate because he was known as the greatest, and anybody old like I am who saw Muhammad Ali fight and just saw how he conducted himself as a citizen of the world. The Beatles once, John Lennon got into trouble, and he was kind of kidding. It was tongue-in-cheek. He was just being a thrasher. But he said in an interview, and this was like in 1965 or 66, and people freaked out. He said, right now we're more popular than Jesus. And you said that in like 1966. I mean, people started burning his records in the South and boycotting the Beatles and how dare he and how dare they. But it was, they did studies on Muhammad Ali when he was at the height of his popularity when he was boxing. And he wasn't necessarily more popular than Jesus, but he was more popular than any world leader. He was more popular, than like President Johnson of the United States or President Nixon, more popular than Mahatma Gandhi or any world leader. He was huge. I mean, he would show up in Zaire, Africa, or wherever he would show up. He was a global icon on many, many levels. And he was one of the first athletes who understood television and understood, I mean, before WWE and these big personalities that you have, like in wrestling and elsewhere, Ali started all that. Ali knew I can look into the camera, I can brag, I can boast, I can guarantee I'm going to win, and a lot of people were taken aback by that because pre-Muhammad Ali athletes were humble, quiet, went about the business. They weren't savvy at all when it came to a microphone or the media, and Ali pretty much flipped the script on all that.
Well, is it a popularity contest or the greatest athlete?
It's the greatest athlete.
Because I think Muhammad Ali hands down would win. Greatest of all time.
True.
if you're throwing in the popularity part, but I think Tom Brady's making a case for himself, about to get his 7th championship, and he's certainly hated. And then for the Wayne Gretzky, I think we're just sticking with Americans here, because if you start bringing in world athletes, of course you've got your Gretzkys, you've got all your soccer players and tennis players. This list, we were only allowed 4 options on Twitter, so these are the 4 we're going with today. But I think Tom Brady has a really strong case. I think Jordan, being in that era that he was, I don't know that you have LeBron, who's the closest to that dominance in the sport today, but basketball in the 90s was just so incredibly different than what we're seeing today. And people argue all the time that he had Pippen and to help him out, he and his buddies, and Tom Brady back when he was in New England just kind of had the bits and ends that he was given and took them all the way to the championship. And you could argue that this year, right? I mean, even though he's got Gronk is not the Gronk that we're used to seeing from back in the day when he was the guy on the Patriots to get the ball to. I mean, he just came out of retirement just so he could play with his buddy again. So I think Tom Brady has a great case here, and I voted for him on our poll today, even as a Tom Brady hater.
Very nice. Well, and that's the other thing too right now, including you, Shannon. So many people hate Tom Brady. I had people in San Antonio will know him. Charlie Parker walked into the studio this morning, and Charlie does the news down the hall at 1200 WOAI in San Antonio. He anchors the morning news, and he said, "What's with all the hatred for Tom Brady?" He said, "In San Antonio." And even across the NBA, did you hate Tim Duncan? When Tim Duncan was on top of the world, going to 6 NBA finals and winning 5 of them, people didn't hate Tim Duncan. I mean, some people hated Ali because he refused to go to Vietnam. He said, "I have no beef with the Vietnamese people. They didn't hurt me. I'm not going." So a lot of people said, "You're a draft dodger." They stripped him of his title. He wasn't able to box. Interestingly, Another part of Ali's bio is in the prime of his life, from like 67 to 71, Muhammad Ali was not allowed to fight because he was stripped of his boxing license because of his refusal to go to Vietnam and fight for his country. So a lot of people hated Ali. When I was growing up, very hardcore people and pro-Vietnam people hated Ali. So, it's hard not to pick him, but I am amazed at, and I was one of them. I just got sick of it because it was happening so much. But the current hatred for Tom Brady, or the people who are just sick of him, or the people who just want him to fail, compared to Ali, compared to Michael Jordan, I don't remember seeing it for Michael Jordan to the level I'm seeing it for Tom Brady. And even Tiger Woods, obviously when Tiger had his infidelity issues and things really went south for Tiger, some people started hating on Tiger. But the level of people who are just not at all down with Tom Brady, given his greatness and his achievements, and his doing this right now at the age of 43, I just find it amazing.
My dislike for Tom Brady comes from the fact that I'm a Cowboys fan and we are America's team, and the Patriots are making a very strong case to become the next America's team because the Cowboys just became irrelevant once Tom Brady and that team went on their streak. I feel like a lot of people, however, though, it's kind of like they hate us because they ain't us thing, right? Tom Brady is a very good looking guy. He's married to the supermodel. He's living in Derek Jeter's giant mansion down in Florida. like he's basically doing early retirement, yet he's working part-time. right? Because he's not having to deal with all the extra stuff that came along with being a Patriots in the Patriot way. So I feel like and he's also a guy, I mean, we saw it on Sunday where he wins a game and then he goes and he posts a video, which was very reminiscent of the video he posted, I believe it was in 2019, when the Patriots moved on in the playoffs of him and Gronk. And snarky smile.
Are you miss TikTok dissing him for posting a video after winning a big game?
No, I think that's just where, I mean, that, in this age, like Tiger Woods isn't out there posting, hater videos and his green jackets, and Muhammad Ali wasn't posting memes of the people he KO'd right after. I mean, obviously it wasn't a thing, but I don't think he would. He really? You think he would?
No, he did it in front of the camera. Yeah.
Okay.
If there were social media, if there were Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, Ali would have been all over it. And even without that, he mugged to the camera, and he was calling Joe Frazier names, and he was predicting, I will knock him out in 2, I will knock him out in 3, and he would dance afterwards and say, "Ain't I pretty? I'm still pretty. I'm the prettiest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best there ever was." Yeah, Ali would be all over that, I think.
And Michael Jordan probably would have received a lot more hate had he had access to the social media. He's not really big into it now, but I feel like then he would have been all over it.
Well, and the other thing is, we know about Michael, if anybody, an opponent would have ever posted anything that Michael could have construed as a shot toward him.
Bulletin board material.
Oh, God. Yeah,
he'd be reposting that so quick after games.
Yeah. Michael would have.
He said, what now?
That guy. So, all right. We are coming up on 7:20. We can do our Brandon in Your Hand cash contest. We do this at 6:20 and 7:20. I'm actually going to be on time for this one, which is amazing. Actually, throughout the day on this radio station, both AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760, 12 times throughout the day up until 8:20 at night. Somebody's going to win it. It may as well be you. Here it is, the Brandon in Your Hand cash contest.
Let us give you money. Your chance to win $1,000 is right now. Text the nationwide keyword cash to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Once again, that's cash to 200-200. Good luck.
Good luck. And because he's been bouncing off the walls and working so hard, and he just told me in my ear that it looks like all systems are now go. As far as this radio broadcast, we had a few elements that were problematic earlier in the show. Sam Freese, our soundscape stylist this morning. Sam, just your thoughts on, and it came up yesterday, you weren't in here yesterday morning, the GOAT of all GOATs. Are we ridiculous to speak the name Tom Brady in the same breath as Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali?
I think it's more ridiculous to speak Michael Jordan in the same breath as Tom Brady. It's just, I mean, Mike and I were talking about this yesterday afternoon. I mean, just we stumbled into it off the top of our heads, but now that we're bringing it back up and y'all are discussing it this morning, I can't think of a closer. I can't think of a further gap between the GOAT and the number 2 guy in any sport, among any position. I mean, we were reaching with y'all, like the more individual sports, boxing, golf. That's probably where you're going to get a similar gap between number 1 and number 2. But it really comes down to the gap between Jack and Tiger, or Tiger and Jack, whichever way you view it. Is that gap smaller than the gap from J to LeBron, or now the gap from Brady to Montana, or whoever you put at number 2? I mean, among those 3 examples, I think Brady is by far has the most gap among him compared to anybody else, compared to those other guys. I mean, it's just the sheer accomplishments, and that's even before we know what he does in a week and a half in the Super Bowl in his new backyard. And I don't know how you argue against that kind of resume.
Now, if he loses and Kansas City is favored and he's 6-4, which on the surface doesn't sound like a dominant record, but dude's been there 10 times. How much luster Sam and then Shannon is taken off of Tom Brady's legacy if he loses this one?
I mean, in my eyes, absolutely none, because we talk about the 6 Super Bowl wins. That's 3 more than any other starting quarterback in NFL history, I believe. Maybe only 2 more. I think it's 3 though. So I mean, he's still. But the 6 is such an insane number that if it stays at 6, it doesn't lose any of its insanity. If it goes to 7, it just becomes ludicrous. And it's not only about the. It's not only about the 6 wins. It's like you said, he's been there 10 times. 10 times in 20 years. He's played in a conference championship game 15 times in 20 years.
Insane.
It's insane. I don't know how that legacy gets tarnished whatsoever by any results at this point in his career.
Shannon, let's say Tom Brady loses, and the odds say Tom Brady will lose the Super Bowl. Is he less of a GOAT if he loses or no?
Well, that's what the odds say, but Tom Brady gets the final word. I don't think he loses anything. I think it would only strengthen the argument, obviously, if he were to win, much like the Tiger comment I made earlier about Tiger's won 15 championships in the PGA. Well, he's in the championships. All he has to do then is win them. Brady has to get to those championships. And if you tell anybody, hey, you're going to go to the Super Bowl, but you only have a 60% shot of winning if you go, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah. That's a good point. 60% of winning the Super Bowl once you get there is pretty damn good.
Right. And you're going to get there 10 times?
Mm. Yeah. And again,
he's all right.
I bring this up a lot. Tell it to Dan Marino, who got there as a rookie. And I've heard that for players, one of the biggest heartaches is getting there and then not winning it. Because you are so close to the dream, and you are so close to immortality. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with the Ravens, and they got a huge contract. And if nothing else, you win the darn thing. Nobody can take that away from you. And to get there and then lose it has got to be just gone awful.
They won't take it away from you, but they will make excuses for why you got it.
True. And a lot of us disparage Joe Flacco, but again, I just, man, you get there and you win the darn thing. I just think that's very, very special. And like Dilfer, people will say, it was the defense, and you played a bad Giants team, and it was Ray Lewis, and you were just a system quarterback and a placeholder. But tell it to his ring. Tell it to his place in football history.
I'll bring it up again since you've dropped the name Joe Flacco. As someone that was arguing with you about career stats last year, anytime I hear Joe Flacco now, all I think about is Joe Flacco, NFL quarterback with more career passing yards than Joe Montana.
God,
it's insane. I can't believe Joe Flacco's top 20 all time. He has over 40,000 career passing yards. He's about 500 ahead of Joe Montana.
Well, and again, as you know, and hopefully most of our listeners know, it is so much more of a passing league, even from the Joe Montana era. I talk a lot about Drew Pearson of the Dallas Cowboys and how deserving he is of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And all indications are that in the seniors classic category, Drew Pearson should get the word the Saturday before the Super Bowl. So that'll be Saturday, February 6th. Drew Pearson is expected to get the word that he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And you look at his numbers and you compare those numbers to, like Des Bryant or any modern day wide receiver. It was not a passing league. It was a run-first league back in the Drew Pearson, Roger Staubach, Tom Landry era. So,
a 7-yard slant for Joe Montana was a revolutionary offensive play for Joe Flacco. That's basically a handoff in modern NFL.
Yeah. That's a boom. I think you nailed it with that analogy. All right. Quick break. Coming up, we mentioned it. Coach K. Or as he is also called Mike Krzyzewski, which I never understood. It's spelled Krzyzewski, but it's Krzyzewski. Coach K. Okay, I'll say that. Was he out of line? Was he rude to that young college journalist from Duke. We'll play you the audio, let you decide for yourself. See how Shannon feels. See how Sam feels. Your phone calls if you want to jump in here at any time. 800-707-9760. Sam is on Twitter at Biggest Puma. Shannon is on Twitter at Shannon Sweeney. I'm on Twitter at Chris Duel. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging. It's the Chris Duel Show. Yeah, Ben, you lead a team to 2 Super Bowls. That's why I think Jim Plunkett should be in. Jim Plunkett quarterbacked to 2 Super Bowl wins, and he's not in, and he should be in, I think. Perfect. We'll do that here in the next segment. Thank you. Shannon says, life advice, never tell a woman to smile more. Did he tell you to smile more? Where did that come from? I got to scroll up. I don't see that, but that's funny. We're going to play the Coach K audio here. I'm going to check something else here. There you go, Jason Garcia. Jason Garcia says a well-balanced diet is a taco in each hand. Excellent. Let's see, what was the name of the kid who asked the question of Coach K? Jake Piazza. Writes for the Duke Chronicle. All right, Jake Piazza's Twitter feed did not blow up as much as I thought. He's only got 1,485 followers, but I know a lot of people are talking about him. I thought he would have gotten more followers than that by now just because of the blow up. He did post, this weekend I will never forget, from going viral on Twitter to getting a phone call apology from Coach K. See, I don't think Jake Piazza warranted an apology from Coach K. So, Sam Tobias, Jason Garcia, Ben, can you hear me during the breaks when my mic is not on? I'm going to have to tell me yes if you can. If not, I will have an idea that we can't. Welcome in on a Taco Tuesday. Chris Duel show along with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Sam Freese is your soundscape stylist. Lots to talk about this morning. Thank you, Jason Garcia and Sam Tobias on Facebook Live. They came in and rewired some of the boards for the video on Facebook Live. So kind of troubleshooting some things during the break. But we're cool. So the guy's name, Shannon, the student journalist who writes for the Duke Chronicle at Duke. The guy who asked the question of Coach K is named Jake Piazza. We talked about it. We'll play the audio in a moment, but I just looked at his Twitter account, and he posted yesterday on Twitter, and he wrote a column about it for the Duke Chronicle. But his tweet was, This was a weekend I will never forget, from going viral on Twitter to getting a phone call apology from Coach K. And then he posted his column. So Shannon, Coach K called this kid, and I guess he's an adult because he's in college. But this guy, Coach K called this guy after all of the uproar to apologize over the exchange we're about to play preemptively, and then we'll react on the other side of it. Should Coach K have called this kid and apologized?
I don't think so. I think Coach K was asked to apologize by his bosses because this kid is a journalist at Duke. Had it been any different, there would have been no apology.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about Craig Popovich and pretty much any other. This, we all work in the business. This kid learned, you ask a question, be prepared for an answer, and be prepared for some scrutiny of your question to the person you're asking a question to. Coach K gave this kid a little lesson in what happens when you ask a question and how it can be responded to. All right, we're going to play this to you. This is a student journalist for the Duke Chronicle asking a question of Coach K. Listen closely to Mike Krzyzewski's response and then ask yourself, is it warranted for him to have to call the kid up and apologize? All right, here's the audio.
I'm just curious what the next step forward here is for the team as you guys move into another week of basketball.
Yeah, why don't we just evaluate this game? I'm not into what our next step forward is right now. We just finished the hard fought game. I don't know if what's your major? What's your major at Duke? What's your hardest class?
Econ.
Okay. So say you just had the toughest econ test in the world, and you walked out. Somebody asked you, "What's your next step?" You see what I mean? Is that you have some empathy and yeah. Just give us time to evaluate this game, and then we'll figure out like we always try to do.
Sounds like an adult and a sage giving a young guy a life lesson to me, Shannon. It doesn't sound bad at all to me. It sounds real world and fatherly.
Right. Maybe not the time and place to do it, I guess, is the point that Duke was trying to get across to Coach K of this is, an interview that will be populated to the public and it's not the best image, I guess, but we've all been through it as for what we do. You ask a question and they don't like it. They don't have to answer it, and they can answer it however they want if they are going to answer it. You mentioned Coach Pop. He's a great example of knocking down reporters when he's not there to answer their questions.
Yeah, they don't have to like it. They don't have to be all cuddly in their response. Sam Freeze, your take on all this.
Yeah, I mean, it just honestly, there's not a whole lot that I hear in that exchange that really would warrant an apology. I mean, it's also a very mundane question to ask. I mean, it's not like he really pried that deep into Coach K's psyche to elicit any kind of pushback from Coach K. I mean, it was a harmless question. It was, hey, this is a rough stretch. Your team's 5-5. You're out of the top 25. Where do we go next? What's the next move? Where's your focus going forward? It's a harmless question. Coach K didn't like it. Like you said, we hear daily across the sports landscape someone being 10 times that rude to a reporter, and we never hear anything about it because it's just a random beat reporter that covers the team daily, that doesn't take it personally, that knows that that has a relationship with the coach, that has a relationship with the player, or whoever it is that was being some level of rude to them. I mean, it's a part of the business, and like I said, it's not like Coach K immediately cussed him up and down and said you have no future in this industry, or you're I never want to hear another question from you. I mean, it kind of felt like a harmless lecture from your grandpa, like one of those ones where you did wrong and you're just kind of sitting there listening to it, waiting for it to end. I mean, it sounds more like Coach K has he's more upset with himself or with the team than he is the actual individual reporter that asked that. Because probably the answer, if Coach K is honest, when he talks about where the focus is going forward, it's probably hell. I don't know. I mean, probably this thing is a rudderless ship at the moment, and I don't really have a good answer to your question.
Well, and you said like your grandpa. I said fatherly. It sounded fatherly. At one point, Coach K said, so have a little real empathy. Coach K used the term empathy.
That's a bit ridiculous too. I mean, it's not the job of the reporter asking post-game questions to have empathy for the season at hand.
Okay.
It's to get answers. It's to
Good
get
point.
quotes.
But nonetheless, you didn't apologize for citing empathy in your reply either. So
He asked the question. He had it answered. It could have been answered way worse.
and if I'm a journalism professor at Duke teaching journalism,
You are now an example.
Well, no, but I think that cheapens the journalistic experience for this student reporter. It's like, nobody else is going to apologize to you. Nobody else. I mean,
no, it's kids' gloves.
Yeah,
it's treating the university journalist as basically a junior high reporter reporting on the student council race. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, if you're a journalism major, and that is your goal to get into the industry in that job in that same vein, you're going to be cutting teeth, getting poll reporters, getting poll quotes after games. Like that's going to happen to you 1,000 times in your first year on the job, and you're not even going to think about it. It like you said, I think Shannon, you said it. It obviously feels like Coach K was pushed to apologize, and I think that's the part that bothers me even more, because it's Duke University, babying their coach and babying their entire journalism department. It seems
It's like going on any singing competition and the judge says, "No, thank you." They don't call later and apologize.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm sorry that I didn't tell you were very good, but you're not. But I'm sorry I did it in a public way.
Yeah,
Like, you put yourself out there. That's just part of putting yourself out there.
That's it, exactly. And that's what Mike and I were saying yesterday. As soon as you put in for that credential, as soon as you submit your request for that media credential, you are a part of the media. As just like the guy that's been standing next to you that's been doing it for 30 years, getting quotes from Coach K. That's your role. Obviously, you're less experienced, but you shouldn't be treated any differently. Certainly not. Treated with the kids' gloves. That it seems it seems like we're just setting that kid up for future failure if this is how we treat him after the slightest bit of rudeness that comes his way. I mean, it feels very Capri Sun and Little Debbie snacks after the Little Dribbler game.
Little Debbie snacks reference. Very nice. I totally agree with both of you. And I agree that it kind of cheapens the journalism education that they're putting forth at Duke. But man, that's where we are.
Yeah, that's not nice. You need to apologize for that.
I know I need to apologize to the Duke Journalism School for that. My bad. So quarterbacks in the NFL, more and more. I heard a lot more talk yesterday, Shannon and Sam, about Aaron Rodgers and his post-game comments. And part of what Aaron Rodgers said, and we talked about it on the show yesterday, was that fourth down call by Matt LaFleur, his coach, to kick the field goal with just over 2 minutes to play, as opposed to on a 4th and 8. It's Aaron freaking Rodgers, a Hall of Famer, at Lambeau Field in the red zone, where even though it didn't go perfectly all day on Sunday, that Packer team throughout the season has been one of the best teams in the NFL in the red zone. Among other things, Aaron Rodgers said, he thought he was in 4-down territory. He thought he clearly indicated that to kick the field goal on 4th down was a surprise to him. And he went on to say, nobody's place is secure next season. Not everybody knows that they're going to be here next season. Some people wrote it off as heat of the moment. He had just lost the game. He was down. Other people now, upon further review, were saying that was calculated. He was signaling once again, and Aaron Rodgers has done this, that he's not loving the current life as the Green Bay Packers quarterback. You factor in the fact that they went and drafted Jordan Love in the most recent draft, and then Rodgers goes out and demonstrates once again that he's one of the best players in the National Football League, almost certainly going to win the MVP award this year. So You look at him, you look at Deshaun Watson, you look at Matt Stafford saying, I'm done with Detroit. The fluidity of quarterbacks. And if indeed the Jets are going to go hire somebody that puts Matt Darnold out there and available, you just look at all these quarterbacks who may be moving around, and obviously we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to try to force a trade, but you look at certainly what Deshaun Watson is doing in Houston, and it's almost like, Shannon, NFL quarterbacks are almost like going Kawhi Leonard here. You look at what Kawhi Leonard did with the Spurs, saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I will force a trade. And some of them might be looking at what Tom Brady did. It's like, you know what? Brady moved on to greener pastures. Obviously, Brady for the first time was a free agent and could make that move on his own. But some of these guys may be forcing trades, and that's certainly Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, and maybe Aaron Rodgers' case.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he never seems to be happy. Even when he wins, he doesn't seem like he's happy. So his comments after the game, obviously he wanted the ball on fourth down, but his comments of kind of alluding to maybe he's done with the Packers. I don't know if I buy them completely, but either way, even if he does stay, we still have this giant quarterback carousel that's going to be happening in this off season. And you're right, like the Kawhi Leonard thing. The NBA has always been a player-driven league, whereas the NFL is an owner-driven league. But we're starting to see it. We saw it last year with Todd Gurley. We saw it with Jalen Ramsey. The year before that, we're seeing it with so many quarterbacks now. Of when they want out, and they want to go to a place that is ready to win. Now, I'm surprised people aren't starting to call them cupcakes like they were calling Kevin Durant for going to the Warriors, and they want to end up on a ready-made team because they've put in their time and did their dues, and they've suffered long enough with a team like the Lions. Just put me in a system that's ready to go, like the Indianapolis Colts, that are at least going to get to the playoffs to give me a chance to win or even get to a Super Bowl.
Going to be really interesting to see, who is the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. Is it Matt Stafford? Is it somebody else? But let me ask you this, Shannon. If you're Matt LaFleur, and I know the head coach is the head coach, but when your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, it's almost like your quarterback being Tom Brady. I know Aaron Rodgers is not Tom Brady, but he's approaching that stratosphere. And Sam made the great point about the drop-off from Aaron Rodgers to any other quarterback, whether it's Joe Montana all time or whether it's any other quarterback active in the NFL today. But I almost think that, and I think we can certainly argue in the NFL right now, Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback. I think if I'm Matt LaFleur, just like if I'm Bruce Arians in that same situation, and Tom Brady is my quarterback, and it's 4th and 8, and there's like 2:09 on the clock, and we're down by 8 points. When I make that decision to kick the field goal, I think I talk to my quarterback. I think hey, I'm thinking about the field goal here. What do you want? And if your Hall of Fame destined quarterback says, I got this, let me throw to the end zone, don't you maybe defer to that quarterback if he is an elite quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, that's like taking LeBron out of the game, right?
Boom.
Or what was it, the infamous meme where we now have him giving the, why'd you shoot that ball when I'm on the floor, right? Like you don't, you at least give the guy the option. And ideally, you don't take the ball out of his hands. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers do it so many times where he's made that final play, the killer ones against the Cowboys. Part of why I hate Aaron Rodgers to begin with. But he clearly, he would much rather carry that weight of the loss on his shoulders than the fact that he didn't even get the chance. And that's where he really is upset at this point, because he can't even blame himself because he wasn't given the opportunity.
Sam?
Yeah, and the other side of it is, I think something that if I was the coach making that decision in the moment, something that would arguably weigh more in my decision making would not be who my quarterback is, but what quarterback am I giving the ball to that I'm going to have to rely on stopping to end up getting another chance to win this thing. I mean, when you're looking at Tom Brady on the other side of that football field and you're saying, I trust my defense to stop the greatest quarterback of all time, I think that weighs way more in the decision-making process, or should at least, than who your own quarterback is. You should you should not take a chance on having to stop him. Much less put the faith in your own quarterback to be able to make that play. I mean, I think the fact that Rodgers was not given the opportunity, and the fact that Brady was a guy on the other sideline that you were reliant on stopping, I mean, that's two terrible coaching decisions wrapped into one.
And if you think your defense can stop them, which you must have if you kick the field goal, if you fail on 4th and 8, then Patriots take over on the 8 with the same amount of time on the even a little more time on the clock because you don't have to kick the kickoff.
Yeah, more time, still have your 3 timeouts, still have the 2-minute warning. I mean, it's an indefensible decision in my opinion to begin with. But the fact that it was Tom Brady on the other side and he still didn't reconsider. That's the part that I think is even more troublesome if I'm a Packers fan.
Huge point. Totally agree with you. All right. We are going to move into the 8 o'clock hour. And if you want to be a part of the show, you're always welcome to dial us up, 800-707-976. I do want to talk a little Kobe Bryant. Sadly, today is the 1-year anniversary of the tragic death of Kobe, his daughter, and everybody else on board that helicopter that crashed in Calabasas, California. We'll get into a little bit of Kobe. I know a lot of people talking about him in the sports media throughout the weekend and into this week, and certainly today. It is the anniversary coming up as well. At about 8:35, Spurs had a game postponed due to corona concerns yesterday against the Washington Wizards. We'll get the latest on the Spurs and the NBA from Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. We'll see what you're saying on Facebook Live. We'll stream a live video on Ticket 760 and AM 1300 Facebook pages. And the poll, who is the GOAT of all GOATs? Vote at Ticket 760 and at AM 1300 Zone. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. See, Bernard says the Packers coach was thinking Brady has 3 interceptions. They will probably just run the ball 3 times and give us the ball back. It's a thought, but it is Brady. Louisa says, don't most quarterbacks have the option to change the play if they don't like it? Yes, on an offensive play, but when the field goal team is coming on, then you are by definition leaving the field. So you've either got to say stop to your coach or use one of your timeouts. And they had 3. And so, I mean, and Rodgers would have been in a tough position there too. I mean, clock's running, the play clock. And a lot of people have said that, Louisa, that Rodgers should have fought it. And in fact, I think Carl Fisher just said in here that Rodgers should have fought it, but he would have had to have called timeout. And you got 3 timeouts in the 2-minute warning, and timeouts were critical in that situation for the Packers. All right. I'm going to get some coffee. I'll be right back in about 90 seconds. Woo! Good morning, Tom Cunanan. I'll be right back. Where's my mask? Where's my mask? There's my mask. Woo! Woo! Be right back. I forgot something. All right. Tom says, I don't hear your usual ads in the radio. Yeah, if you're listening to the video feed, you don't hear them from here, Tom, because we're coming out of Austin and San Antonio. So each station is running its own sets of ads during the breaks. So where we come from, Shannon in Austin and me here in San Antonio, you don't hear the ads. We'll do that. Okay. Is that a... Yeah, I think a cigarette break. Yeah, he's not back yet. I'll tell Sam once he gets back in. Here he comes. Hey, Sam, can you hear me? Yeah, Shannon telling me in the notes that the zone didn't go to break, so she fired it manually, the spots. She says zone break did not fire. I fired them manually, so zone will rejoin later. Yeah, okay, she's saying that right now too, so she knows that. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, thanks. So now I see what Tom was talking about. Tom said no ads. I thought he was talking about this, about the video feed, which is the way I normally hear it. All right, here we come.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
Day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through. other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Yeah.
Now, Chris Duel.
Taco Tuesday. I am wearing a t-shirt that says peace, love, tacos. No, not peace, love, dope. Although, it's kind of legal in what, 20 states now? Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, on a Taco Tuesday, where speaking of tacos,
Hey, Shannon, can you hear me?
Shannon,
You there? You're off air. I got you off. Okay, you there?
Yeah.
Is not only taking over the
so
world
it didn't-
and therefore
it didn't
taking over San Antonio. There is a Torchy's in Lincoln Heights, not far from where I live. But Torchy's, and I'm going to have to try it, Shannon, has the best queso in the world, apparently. That's a beautiful thing. So we will check into that. Sam Freese is your soundscape stylist. I'm Chris. Lots to talk about in this final hour, including Shannon. This day in sports history. And, we normally do it, and I got a list of all the things that happened on this day in sports history, but I got a feeling from now on, sadly, January 26th in sports history is going to be remembered for January 26th, 2020, and that was the Kobe Bryant death and crash that took the lives of he and his daughter and, other parents on that plane, the pilot. I think there were three, including his daughter. I think there were three young basketball players who were going to go play in that tournament. So very, very, very sad day in the day that as sports fans, anybody who listens to this show is probably a sports fan. It's a day sports fans will not forget. And Kobe also kind of like some athletes transcended sports. So there were people who were not necessarily hardcore Lakers or basketball fans who were very well aware of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it's one of those things you remember where you were when you found out. I had just woken up from a nap, so it felt very reminiscent to when Michael Jackson died, because also I'd just woken up from a nap, and also working in sports, it just became, oh my God, we have to get on top of this. But also, there was leaked images that, you weren't sure. I think it took a couple hours for them to actually confirm that he had actually passed, right? Because the reports came out that Kobe had crashed and he had died. And then there was all this, these names were being put out that hadn't been confirmed yet. And that's just horrible. And then to find out they were confirmed, it was just a whole mess. And that whole day, and then week with all the remembrances going on around the NBA and how poetic for the Lakers to end up winning the championship last season. They of course had those awesome black Mamba jerseys that I thought they were so cool with like the snake skin. Those looked really great. They didn't play very well in them, but they did look really cool. Yeah. And then of course today, you if you watch any games tonight, you more than likely won't be seeing any tributes. The Bryant family has asked that they just don't kind of put that out there today. Then that we remember him for what he was and not because he died.
All good points. And you're so right, Shannon. I remember, and it was so weird. There was a Spurs game that day, and I think I mentioned yesterday, I came into the studio, and it was Michael Bartlett, who's the engineer for Spurs Radio, who told me that Kobe had died, and it took several seconds for that to just register in my brain as something that could even be real. But you're right, very early on, some of the disinformation and misinformation we heard that Rick Fox, a former teammate, was on that helicopter and died with Kobe. And within minutes, Rick Fox was tweeting, I'm alive, I'm out here, and this is awful, but I wasn't on that helicopter. We also at one point early on heard that all of Kobe's family, that his wife and his three daughters were on board, which, it was already horribly tragic. But in our minds, when we heard that piece of information that turned out to be incorrect, that was just even more god-awful than it actually was, and it was still pretty darn god-awful.
Did you ever see Kobe in person, get to play?
I did, yes, a number of times. And very early on in my radio career,
doing Spurs radio, I had a boss who has since passed away. People in San Antonio know him, the gorilla Andrew Ashwood. But we would, for playoff series, we would go on the road with the Spurs. So since WAI was home of the Spurs in San Antonio, we'd do like the home games on the radio, and then during the playoffs, he'd get sponsors, and we'd travel with the Spurs for all the playoff games. So I was lucky enough to see him not only here, but in Staples Center.
Wow. I only saw him once, and it was not for basketball.
Really?
Like, I went to, after the U.S. women won the World Cup, they did kind of a tour, and they played in San Antonio, and the Lakers were in town to play the Spurs, and he was in a suite during that game, so I could see him in his red shirt. So that's the closest I've ever been to Mr. Bryant. Sure wish I would have gotten to see him live in action, but to get to witness, I mean, he is the Michael Jordan of my generation, right? I mean,
yes.
the early 90s, my generation wasn't fully aware of what and the impact of Michael Jordan. So Kobe definitely became that for us, and just so shocking to think that he's not with us anymore.
Well, and that brings up an interesting question, Shannon. We've been talking about the GOAT all day. Is it Tom Brady? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Muhammad Ali? Is it Tiger Woods? Is somebody brought up Wayne Gretzky? Where in basketball players, obviously it's Michael Jordan, and most people think number two is LeBron James. Obviously Kobe's clearly top 5 or top 10, but especially. And Kobe's work ethic. We heard that he'd be the first guy into the gym and the last guy out of the gym. And when the Lakers would lose, he would stick around and shoot for like 30 or an hour or 90 minutes. Just to get back to work. And it was all about going back to work and working hard for Kobe Bryant. Where in your mind, and like you said, Kobe was the Michael Jordan of your generation. Where does Kobe rank among the all-time greats in the NBA?
I think he goes between second and third, because LeBron is just making such a strong case for himself, as we see with Tom Brady right now. I think LeBron gets a big knock because of the way the NBA sort of is today, where everyone seems to be buddy, right? Michael Jordan talked about that, how you just hated all the opponents, and Kobe kind of found himself in the middle of that, where at the beginning of his career it was strictly ball, and towards the end he kind of became a mentor to those younger teammates he had and younger players that were in the league that looked up to him and came in to play against him just in awe, but that he would give them compliments and pointers towards the end of the game. But I think with the number of championships, he did it with one team. He means so much to that city in the game of basketball. And then what he was doing, after his career was over, it just kind of added to his basketball legacy.
Well, and again, you mentioned yesterday, he had already won an Oscar. He had multiple companies. He had a film production company. There's so much he wanted to do. Somebody came out just a number of weeks ago saying that, he was going to leave, I think, Nike or whatever company he was with, and start his own Mamba brand shoe. So, there were so many things that he was going to do. And I think what really touched us and moved us, even before his death, but afterwards in so many tributes, and we saw so much footage, his love of his daughters and his support of his daughters, and he is just taking such joy in his daughters succeeding, and the daughter that died with him, supporting her as a basketball player, and by all accounts, she was on a trajectory. She wanted to go to UConn. She was on a trajectory to be an amazing basketball player who, who's to say, daughter of Kobe Bryant, and as good as she was at the time of her death, that she wouldn't have been a prolific college basketball player, and perhaps one of the faces of the WNBA. And I'm sure the WNBA was just dreaming of, gosh, if we ever have the daughter of Kobe Bryant, and she's great and becomes one of the faces of our league, that would have really elevated that league as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Him having all those daughters, he definitely became a champion for not only girls basketball, but women's sports in general, right? LA is now expecting to get a NWSL team that the Bryants are part of a giant group to fund, but we know Kobe's so big into soccer as well that he certainly would have played a heavy hand in bringing that club up, and obviously they were on an aircraft to get to a basketball game for his kid, a tournament, and it was like the Mamba athletic complex, right? Like he just he did everything he could to make the game a place for everyone to enjoy at all levels, at all genders. And it's sad that we don't really have someone who kind of has stepped into that, right? LeBron has his school, which is another amazing. I mean, that's almost hard to comprehend, the fact that he has a school, right, with grade levels and teachers, and that it's actually built from the ground up. But Kobe's impact, it just hurts so much that he had so much more to give, because just what he did in that small amount of time since he left the court was already so big and so impactful that I don't know that we'll get another one like him. But I think he's a great guy for people like LeBron and Kevin and the Kevin Durant's and the Steph Currys to emulate in their careers and life after basketball.
Yeah. And little did we know, as horrible and tragic as it was 1 year ago today, that it was just kind of the first blow, the first kick in the teeth to so many people in the year 2020. We had no idea. We were just starting to hear of this thing in Wuhan, China, a year ago called the coronavirus, and hearing about lockdowns and things that were going on in China. And some people said, "Ooh, that could happen here," and we were like, "No, that couldn't happen here. That's fiction. That can't happen here." And wow. What a year 2020 was, and 26 days into it, a year ago today, the helicopter crash. And I had heard this just the other night, and I forgot about this. You were talking about the tournament that Kobe and his daughter Gianna and the other people on board that helicopter were headed to. Kobe's wife apparently was already in place at that venue, waiting for them. I don't know the circumstances of why. And I know that they played at that tournament the day before. So I don't know. Maybe she stayed overnight. But I had heard they ran like a 1 hour Kobe special after the Spurs game on Sunday night. So I was listening to it after the Spurs game, and that piece of information I'd either forgotten or did not know, that here was Mom waiting for Kobe and Gianna to arrive so that they could play in this basketball tournament on that day. So
yeah, I didn't know she was there. I remember the images of the tournament and the players all kind of gathered together with their heads bowed when it was confirmed that Kobe and Gigi, as well as the other passengers, didn't make it from that crash. But how scary for her to be there and just waiting for him, and for him and Gigi to never come. I can't imagine.
Awful. Sam Priest, you're a big basketball guy, NBA, college, on all levels. Your thoughts on Kobe Bryant 1 year later, and what he meant to you and what he means to the game?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to believe it's been 1 year. It's one of those deals where the fact that it was an athlete of his magnitude, not just the career achievements, but also just the global popularity. I mean, I can't think of I can't think of a passing so dramatic at any other point in my lifetime when it comes to the sports world. I mean, it was. It's the level. I don't feel like it's even hyperbole to say. I mean, it's the level of like Princess Di passing unexpectedly. I mean, it's just just a massive part of the the history of this era. And it's not even when it comes to sports either. I mean, we saw him win an Oscar in retirement. I mean, and that was, obviously the beginning of a hobby that you could only say was going to continue to flourish and produce more of that greatness that we had become used to with Kobe. I mean, I know you asked Shannon, all-time rankings. It just feels when when we remember Kobe, and I know I joke all the time because I hate these all-time ranking conversations, because it just feels like feels like we're just picking apart the 10 best players that ever played the game that we love. I mean, and that's where it comes to Kobe. I mean, I at some point in my life, I'm going to get into another drunken bar argument about where Kobe ranks on the all-time scale. But even a year later, that still feels too fresh to be arguing over the man's career accomplishments and not just remembering the greatness that he was, that he stood apart from everyone else, no matter where you think he is on the rankings.
Yeah, I just, as a Spurs fan, I think about those great battles, when you had Shaq and Kobe, and later you had Kobe and Pau Gasol, but when they went up against the big three, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, you had that Derek Fisher series, that .4 Derek Fisher shot. A lot of people forget right before Derek Fisher hit that shot, and that was the impetus that propelled the Lakers to win that series. Had that one individual game gone the other way, Spurs would have, I think, been up 2-0 in that series or had a significant lead. Tim Duncan hit either top of the key or a three-point shot, an uncharacteristic deep shot by Tim Duncan that would have gone down as one of the great shots in Tim Duncan's career that is now forever forgotten about because of Derek Fisher in that series. Just another one. And I know that wasn't Kobe, but that was Derek Fisher. But that was just that Kobe, Shaq versus Spurs Big Three era. Little did we know that we were in rarefied air just watching a great rivalry back in those days.
I mean, I think you say little did we know, but I think there were some clear moments where everyone watching those games understood that they were watching three of the best 12 to 15 guys to ever play this game. I mean, the names, when you talk about Duncan, Kobe, and Shaq, you can make arguments for all three of those guys as their top 10 all time. Duncan, you can make arguments, Kobe, you can make arguments as a top 5 all time. I mean, those were memories, those were games that will never be replicated at that level of talent on the court. I mean, just an amazing era of basketball, like you described. It's so hard to believe that those are memories now of a lost soul and not memories that the three of those guys are going to reminisce about for years to come.
Well, and if you bring that up, Sam, and it was supposed to happen last summer, but the coronavirus happened. We knew when Kobe died a year ago that in the summer of 2020, he and Tim Duncan in the same class were supposed to be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. And I remember even thinking how in their acceptance speeches, clearly Kobe would be referencing Tim, and Tim would be referencing Kobe because their clashes in the playoffs so often intertwined. And Shannon, I brought this up yesterday. Just the Friday before his death, Kobe said in an interview, if it wasn't for the Spurs, I'd have won 2 or 3 more championships. They were in our way. And as a Spurs fan, it was just nice to hear Kobe give the Spurs some props. That's why on the Sunday when I heard he died, it was all the more surreal because I remember Kobe saying that on Friday, and I remember Kobe tweeting out his congratulations to LeBron James the night before in surpassing him, for the number 3 on the all-time scoring list.
Yeah, and that comment was from the Tony Parker documentary, right? Or did he say it more than once? Because I know in the Tony Parker documentary, that was one of the things that he said before he said he learned French to talk smack to Mr. Tony Parker on the court.
Yeah, I don't know if it was, I heard about that quote like the Friday before he died. Sam, you had something else before we take a break.
Oh, you just said the word surreal, and it just made me remember the news. Receiving the news of that was surreal because it was literally as I was on the phone with my old man telling him happy birthday because today is his birthday, and then both of us just immediately were like, "Oh my God, can you believe? Like, have you heard it?" That's the most surreal conversation I can ever remember having with my dad. That's just the perfect word for it.
Wow. 1 year ago today, Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, a number of people on board that helicopter. Lives changed forever, sadly. And so many of our lives were made better by appreciating the skills, the life of Kobe Bryant. Quick break. Spurs were supposed to play last night for the first time this season, and to my knowledge, the first time in Spurs history, one of their games postponed, as it was last night in New Orleans against the Pelicans. We'll talk Spurs NBA. I'm sure we'll get a Kobe thought or two as well. From Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs, he joins us next. Shannon, Salty, Sweetie, Sam Freeze, and me. We're with you till 9. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Wow, look at that. Okay, somebody just wrote on Facebook, and this was 9 minutes ago. Somebody just wrote, did someone pull you off of the air? All of a sudden, you became WOAI. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. 30 more minutes. Yeah, there are some gremlins at work. Let's see. Andy Gonzalez says, appreciate everything Kobe did and the greatness he brought, great battles against the Spurs, but he was just a great competitor and also contributing after retirement. Hated him when he was killing my Spurs, but can't deny the greatness. Rest in peace, Kobe and Gigi. Yeah, Louisa, Sam just told me what happened. Yeah, Sam, I agree with you on that. Most of us vividly remember where we were a year ago today when we heard that news. Need the phone number of that. Thank you, Carl Fisher. Thank you, Louisa. Yeah, someday these things will be fixed. Wow. Jeff Garcia. Who shared this with me? That was John Williams. Thank you, John. Jeff Garcia with a story. Celtics coach Stevens is hesitant to bring the Celtics to San Antonio due to contact tracing. So yeah, we'll talk with Jeff about that. Thanks, John, for the link. Yeah, Sam, they were trying to fix the problem. And while trying to fix the problem here, it switched over to WOAI for a few moments. So welcome to our world. It's been an unusual day in radio. So Louisa likes, I'm trying to think, where did I get this shirt, Louisa? I think I got it on eBay. I'm trying to remember. I think my other I Vote for Tacos, I have a red shirt. I think I got that at HEB. I think I found this one on, no, not eBay, on Amazon. Amazon. Sometimes I just search T-shirts, see if there's anything unusual and that I like. And I found this one on Amazon a while back. So I'm sure if you go into the search engine and put Peace, Love, Tacos T-shirt, it'll probably show up, or maybe even a better one. Shannon, I wasn't looking at my phone. I see that you sent me a text 31 minutes ago looking for Sam's number. Shannon texted me 31 minutes ago looking for your phone number. Did she get in touch with you? I'm guessing she did. And the other day I was going to send you the biggest Puma photos that I took, and I don't have your number in my phone, which is crazy. Yeah, I got to make sure I do that at some point. Don't give it to me now or everybody on Facebook will hear it. Oh, so is that where I got it, Sam? From you? Maybe, I probably did. It's a great shirt. And it was a great, for people who don't know it, it's a red, white, and blue shirt. It's predominantly red, but red, white, and blue. It says, I vote for tacos. And I got it at HEB. And I'm guessing now, as Sam is reminding me, he must have told me about it. It was great for 2020 for an election year. Everybody talking about voting and such angst and disagreement. Cool. Thank you. Here we go. Welcome back. It is the Chris Duel Show on AM 1300 The Sun in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app, where we are crystal clear. Shannon, do you have a smart device? Do you have like the Alexa, the Amazon Echo, any of that stuff?
I have Google Minis throughout my house.
Oh, sweet. See, I'm amazed. I got like the Amazon Echoes, which is the Alexa. I am amazed how good our radio stations sound when I play us on that. It's like we even sound better than we actually sound.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I highly recommend that.
It doesn't bother me as much to hear my own voice when I play it through those.
Exactly. Yeah, it gives my voice a little more bass.
Like, I don't know her.
It's like, wow, it doesn't sound as kooky and squeaky as I normally sound. So anyway, that's one of the many ways you can access the show. She is Shannon Colty Sweeney, Sam Priest, making the show go. He is your soundscape stylist. One of our favorite go-to guys on all things basketball. He covers the Spurs and the NBA for a couple of San Antonio television stations, News 4 San Antonio and Fox 29. He's also got a great podcast that you can also access at the iHeartRadio app, among other podcast platforms. That is called Locked on Spurs. And one of his latest stories that I'm reading right now, the headline, Celtics coach Brad Stevens hesitant to go to San Antonio due to contract tracing with the Spurs. The Spurs game last night against the New Orleans Pelicans had to be postponed. Both teams facing some COVID concerns. Let's bring him in, Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia, welcome back in. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and good morning to both y'all.
And I was thinking, I said this out loud a few minutes ago, Jeff. It's the first time this season a Spurs game had to be postponed. A number of them have been in the NBA. And I'm an old guy who goes all the way back to season 1 with the Spurs. I don't remember any Spurs game being postponed, other than when every game was, March 11th of last year with coronavirus. But kind of for a game that was going to be played that night, kind of some Spurs history was made last night.
Yeah, from my recollection, I think the closest that could have been called off was the water cannon night in the Alamo Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably was the closest, but they resumed later in the day for the water cannon incident where fans were soaked. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The Spurs were fortunate at least to get to this point, being one of the few teams that never had a game called off because of the contract tracing. But here we are. Look, nobody should be surprised that this happened to the Spurs, or let alone the rest of the NBA. The whole world is dealing with this pandemic that still will not go away. And unfortunately, it came to the Spurs. And what's interesting, though, is that the NBA announced the postponement, like an hour and a half before tip-off. And even before that, the Spurs released their injury report, only listing Derek White, that is out of the game. So it must have been pretty significant for them to say, hey, we're calling this game off because both teams don't have enough players to proceed. And look, the NBA is really good about maintaining and controlling the virus, making sure it does not spread. The Spurs did head back to San Antonio following the postponed game, which is a good sign, because if there was something impacting the team itself, they more than likely would have quarantined them in New Orleans and said, stay put, you guys are sick, don't go anywhere. But the fact that they allowed them to get back to San Antonio, that's a good sign. Look, the Spurs, although they didn't get a game canceled, they're not immune to it. Remember, Drew Eubanks and Becky Hammond were put in quarantine and were left in Los Angeles to finish their 2-week quarantine before rejoining the team. So it's an unfortunate thing that the world, let alone the NBA, has to live with, Chris.
And Jeff, on the topic of coronavirus and the NBA, there's murmurs that the Heat are soon going to be allowing fans into the stands, and that they're going to use coronavirus dogs to help sniff out those that may have the disease so they don't get into the stadium. We know that the Spurs originally intended to host fans back in the stands at the beginning of the new year, but that has yet to happen. Now with this postponement of the game, are talks of potentially allowing fans in at any point, even around the corner, a subject of conversation?
No, not at all. I mean, you hit it on the head where the Spurs were going to allow them, the fans, that is, back in January 1. But I mean, I think that was a lofty goal. I don't think that was reasonable, considering San Antonio is getting hit hard with cases left and right. And it feels like it's a daily occurrence now where the numbers keep on increasing. So the Spurs did the prudent thing and delayed it indefinitely. Now, I had a chance to talk to Greg Popovich about what the Spurs are doing to ensure a safe environment if and when fans are allowed to get back. And he told me that the franchise organization is doing everything possible for a safe environment when they come back. I mean, they are enlisting the help of robots. It's not a joke. Robots are patrolling the entire AT&T Center right now, killing the virus with flashlight technology. So, now Popovich did acknowledge that it is a difficult time. He told me that, but part of that difficulty is trying to ensure that everybody is safe, and it's not an exact thing. I mean, I think you could take all the precautions in the world. It just takes one person to get into any NBA arena and start a chain reaction, which will not be good. My question is though, like, what will it take for the NBA to put a halt on this? What would it take an NBA player or a staff member, a coach, to get severely sick to say, you know what, this ain't working, we're going to go back to the bubble? That's right. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen if something bad, really bad happens.
That's a great point. He's Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. And to that point, we did hear a few weeks ago there was a Board of Governors conference call among NBA teams. And one of the things that they discussed was maybe postponing the season, maybe like taking a timeout for a couple of weeks. They chose not to, which brings us, Jeff. And I know I talked about one of your stories that you put out overnight. Celtics coach Brad Stevens hesitant to bring the Celtics to San Antonio today. They're supposed to play tomorrow night at the AT&T Center. I know we don't probably have any specifics at 8:43 in the morning, but how do you think this plays out now for a potential Celtics-Spurs game, which is scheduled to go tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, can you blame Stevens, though? I mean, his team just got hit hard with virus, too. They were out for a week, Chris. Tatum got it. I think Jaylen Brown was put into the health safety protocols. So you can understand where Coach Stevens is coming from. But as far as the game itself, no, there's been no word whatsoever. Now, the Spurs will not practice today. They're taking the day off. That could be just because they're starting their quarantine. We don't know where this is going. Right now, I would say it's, in my opinion, I don't know anything. Anybody in the NBA told me, but I think they're probably going to lean to maybe canceling it just to be safe. I mean, what got me, though, as I mentioned earlier, is that how close to game time it was when they announced the postponement. This wasn't like the day before or a couple days ahead. It was right before tip-off. So that tells me that this was something serious, and the NBA wanted to proceed with caution. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, if they postpone the game, I'd rather the NBA be safe than sorry, because you have a guy on that Spurs bench named Greg Popovich, who is up there in age and in that age range where the virus has a deadlier impact, and you don't want him to get sick, let alone anybody to get sick on either bench.
Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs with us on the Chris Duel Show. And finally, Jeff, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. I know Shannon and Sam and I have been talking about what happened 1 year ago today. I think anybody who loves basketball and Kobe Bryant transcended basketball. There are people who were deeply impacted and inspired by the life of Kobe Bryant who weren't necessarily hardcore basketball fans like we are. But your thoughts on Kobe Bryant, what he meant to you, and what do you think he means to the league now, 1 year later, and moving forward?
When I think of Kobe Bryant, I think of just how much he and the Lakers brought out the best in the Spurs. I mean, those early 2000 battles between San Antonio and Los Angeles, Kobe going up against the Big Three, Bruce Bowen, and that individual matchup. He brought out the best in the Spurs, and Spurs fans, although they may have gritted their teeth whenever he was on that AT&T Center court or Alamo Dome court, but there's a lot of respect from the fan base to Kobe, and vice versa. He's always been, he would always compliment the Spurs. I mean, he loved Greg Popovich. If you watch the Tony Parker documentary, Brian is on there complimenting not only just Parker, but the rest of the organization. So, it was a mutual respect, and it's unfortunate, that the world lost him. And, I mean, it's such a tragic loss, but hopefully today everybody celebrates the life that was Kobe Bryant.
And you talk about the mutual respect, Jeff. I remember, and I'm really proud of the Spurs organization. Kobe's last game
in uniform at the AT&T Center. I know arenas around the league paid tribute to Kobe, but the Spurs themselves, their video, Coach Popovich, I mean, the Spurs really, and their fans, to their credit, because I see even today some fans said, man, I hated Kobe when we go up against the Spurs, but I got to give him props. I mean, I must respect him as a player. So Spurs fans, even on that night, gave it up for him. There was a great video tribute. You might have even been there that night, Jeff. And I'm proud of the fans in San Antonio and the Spurs organization when they had the opportunity on his final night in a Lakers uniform in the AT&T Center to pay tribute. I remember Kobe's post-game comment. I remember he was very moved by the tribute that San Antonio gave to him on the way out.
Absolutely, and Popovich always glowed about Kobe and for what he did on and off the court. And one thing I liked about Kobe was that whenever we would speak with him post game or pre game, whatever it was, he would just roll the punches. Very media friendly. Never. Even if it was a ridiculous question, he maybe reacted to it, but he did answer it, and I appreciate that. And you look at the life of Kobe, the NBA. I mean, he helped further cement the NBA stamp on making it a global game. I mean, you had fans not only in Texas and California, United States, but across the world. So he was a world person, and I think everybody's going to miss him. But hopefully, the tributes today are very touching and moving. And again, we celebrate his life, and don't forget his daughter too. I mean, it's such a tragic loss too. She was pegged to, hope one day join the WNBA. You saw him on the sidelines talking with her about the game. So both were going to be missed.
Yeah. And condolences a year to everybody on the helicopter and all the families that they left behind. Jeff Garcia is a great follow on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. There you get links to all of his coverage for News 4 San Antonio, Fox 29, and his great podcast, Locked On Spurs, which you can access via the iHeartRadio app, along with any other major platform for podcasts that you use. Jeff Garcia, great stuff, man. We'll talk again real soon. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir. Y'all both have a good day.
All right, Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs. Shannon, as we prepare to wrap, our big Kobe, certainly one of the greatest of all time, but where does Tom Brady rank among the GOATs with Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, and Tiger Woods? Our poll question today asking who is the greatest among the GOATs?
Yeah, we've got Michael Jordan, who's now jumped out ahead 10% percentages in front of Tom Brady. Michael Jordan 37, Tom Brady 27, Muhammad Ali. Just saw someone vote for him again, so he's now at 25% and 9% for Tiger Woods. I still don't understand that one when you have these three other options.
So you don't understand.
Those are just Tiger stands.
Yeah, you don't understand why Tiger isn't at 0%, is what you're saying, right?
That's right. He's amazing. He's a GOAT at golf, but of all athletes, no.
Now, you've seen the Tony Parker documentary on Netflix, which features Kobe. Have you watched the Tiger Woods documentary on HBO?
I have not, because unlike the Michael Jordan doc, Tiger had nothing to do with it. And from comments that we've heard from people we've had on the show, it's basically just a bunch of Tiger slander. It's not. They're trying to. It's the other side of the story. Well, I mean, if he didn't approve it, am I actually getting what's real, or am I getting fabricated something to liven up the story for a documentary on HBO? There's so many other good things to watch on HBO.
That's a good point. If Andy Everett doesn't like the Tiger Woods documentary, then there's a problem, because Andy loves Tiger.
Yeah, that was all I needed to know. When Andy gave it a very mediocre thumb sideways, that was all I needed to know, that it's probably not worth my time. It's funny you say that, though, Shannon, because when I see a documentary where the person did participate heavily, I always think it's just going to be a glamour shot for them. And I think you were not going to get the actual real story, even when they do participate. So I guess it's damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah, it depends on the person, right? Because there's certainly more about Michael that we would have loved to have seen gambling, but we didn't, because he wouldn't allow it. But we did get to see a good portion of stuff that most people probably wouldn't have shared with the world.
Shannon, Salty Sweeney, outstanding. Enjoy your day.
You as well, sir.
Follow Shannon on Twitter at Shannon B. Sweeney. Sam Priest, you rock, sir.
Always fun, man.
An uneventful day for you, Sam. You're doing the engineering thing. You're just sitting back chilling all day. Not. Sam is on Twitter at the biggest Puma. I'm on Twitter at Chris Duel. Thanks to Shannon. Thanks to Sam. Thanks to Jeff Garcia at Jeff G. Spurs Zone. We will see you in 21 hours. Think of Kobe today. We think of Kobe Bryant. Adios. See you all later. Thanks for being here.